Good morning. It's Thursday, August 18th, 2023. The drive into work. It's been another long gap between videos. I'm not sure how many I recorded and didn't post. It wasn't a lot. In general, I really stumped for things to talk about in the morning. Like I've said in every video, it's very early. It's very foggy out today. It's very, very low visibility. I still have tons and tons of stories, but it is amazing how foggy I am. How foggy I am in the morning, and I can't recall them. Like in a social setting, I'm just like full of stories. But the early morning by myself in the car, it's very difficult to on demand talk to myself about stories. Long pause. Covered the day, covered that it was foggy. So it's still about 3 weeks until my next vacation. I lined it up with the beginning of the month. It's going to be another staycation. Lots of stuff to do around the house. Things I have to get done, long-term projects which I haven't completed. We have a lot of people do. We have it at work too. We have a seasonal ant problem at home, and it has been really bad this year. And we haven't found where they're getting in, but it's a very specific route they take. I just come in like from the dining room wall somewhere. But we have the same issue at work. I had to keep calling the exterminators at work because these ants are just like non-stop. Like I had to call them out like every week. They kept saying, "Yeah, give it a couple days, blah blah blah." Never when I finally called. It's like, I don't know what you're doing, but it's accomplishing nothing. So they came in with these hypodermic needles full of some kind of gel that they put down, and literally the next day there were no ants. I don't know what that stuff is, but I'd like to get my hands on it. Probably some like extremely toxic chemical. I went out and I bought the cheapest surround sound system I could find. It's a V51, I think it's a Vizio 5.1. It comes in a weird box, kind of shaped like a sneaker maybe. It's like long, but then halfway it's got the bulge, stuff like that. So, not entirely unhappy with it. It's not the best sound system. It was like about $150. You got a sound bar, 2 speakers, and a subwoofer, a remote. A bunch of cables came with it. It was very difficult to set up. I mean, the plugging it in and mounting all the speakers and stuff like that was very easy. As easy as it could be. I'm getting older, so working overhead and installing speakers in the ceiling is a little more challenging than it was a few years ago. But the first issue we noticed is they're not super powerful. There may be something. Unfortunately, we put the book for the speakers back in the box that we put back in the basement, so I don't have it as a reference. But the satellite speakers, I don't know what they are. The little ones that go behind you. I think I put them too far back. Because we can't really hear them. One of the problems we had with the TV is that it had its own speakers built in. So unfortunately, when we were sitting in the party room watching TV, we would have to have the TV on blast because you couldn't hear it. But if you walked over to the refrigerator, or if you were like anywhere in this cone on the side of the TV, it was deafening. So just weird acoustics. So we figured we should get a sound bar, subwoofer, blah blah blah. And we bought literally the cheapest one you can find. The same one is available at like Target and Walmart, I think, for close to $200, but it's a $150 at BJ's. I literally got the last one. They said they didn't have any in stock online, but I went there anyway because I don't trust the internet, and I was right, there was one there. So I scooped it up, took it home. So we still have to turn the volume way up, but the sound is directed at us, meaning that I don't know that the speaker bar is as powerful as the speakers built into the TV, but the sound quality is fine for $150 Dolby surround sound. The only issue I have is, like I said, the rear speakers, I've put them way too far back. So they're up in the rafters and they're back a good 4 or 5 feet. So I have them up in the, like, if you know my party room, I have the basement ceiling torn down. So it's just rafters and wires and pipes, like you can see the infrastructure of the house. So I installed them pretty far back, and they're like aimed at the next joist. So I think it's too far. Like when they show you how to set it up, the perfect setup is like on a table right behind your sitting area. So in theory, like I think these things are supposed to be a foot from your ear, and I've got them at least 10 feet away. So my intention now is to move those speakers to above the couch or just behind the couch and point them straight down, which I can do with the mounting hardware. Because the couch is a reclining couch, and I just don't, even though it's a big room, the way we have it laid out, I don't want to just put a table behind the couch just to have some speakers on. So I think up in the ceiling, aimed down, should work. Like I can hear them clearly if I get up off the couch and I walk over to them while the show is on. It's they're definitely putting out sound. It's if you're not familiar with surround sound, it's not the main sound. The main sound comes from the front. This is all the ambient sound. Like if you're in an office setting and you hear typewriters or computer keyboards and the shuffling of papers, that's the kind of sound that comes out of the satellite speakers. You hear all that ambient noise. It's kind of neat. So anyway, I might do that when I get home today. Moving the speakers. We also might run them a different way. We have the subwoofer on the right side of the couch. I think we're going to move it to the left side of the couch just for cable management purposes. There's a better way to run the power cords and stuff like that. The subwoofer and the 2 satellite speakers, they're I want to say wireless, but there's so many wires. But it is wireless. The subwoofer and the satellite speakers are not directly wired to the sound bar or the TV. They are remote. So the only wires you have to worry about are the wires coming from the subwoofer going to the satellite speakers and the power cord from the subwoofer to the wall. The sound bar, of course, has a USB Spark Volt something, USB something, and power cord. So, but that's right underneath the TV. I mounted it on the mantle under the TV. So, like I said, I'm not. I think it was worth $150. I don't know if I would be as happy with it if I paid $200, but I don't know how to quantify that $50 difference in sound quality, because I don't have a lot of experience with surround sound setups. I've had them before, but it's been a long time. I know when they're set up right, they're really awesome. Like, they're very immersive, and that's I'm not there yet because I think I put the satellite speakers back too far. You have to give me a minute. I'm pulling up to the cafetorium.
What can I have for you?
Hi, could I get a large black coffee, please? That's it. All right. put it in the wrong pocket. How bizarre. If I had forgotten my wallet, I would have had to have stopped the video so I could use Apple Pay. Hi. Thank you very much. You too. So, with the, like I said, I've had other surround sound systems. When they're set up nice, they're great. I know it seems silly that I would buy the cheapest one imaginable. We have this weird problem. The higher the price, like when we're looking at like $800 systems, we have this bizarre problem paying for. Like, I don't know why we're like this, but we have a really hard time deciding on buying something. $150 is right in that sweet spot where if it ends up being garbage, we don't feel too bad. It'll serve the purpose, but I realize it's not. It doesn't make much sense for me to buy like a little toy surround sound system for $150 when I really should be buying something more high end. But it's kind of one of those things where I think it's worth it for the short term to get the feet wet with the really cheap one. If we enjoy it when we do, like, because we still have yet to remodel that room, so it'll be one of those things where it may get repurposed somewhere else. I don't know if it's necessarily something we would move into the bedroom. I have a TV in the bedroom. I was always torn about that. Like, for the longest time, we didn't have one. We did have a tiny one in our bedroom at the old place. We've been up here for, I want to say 10 years. I really don't know the answer, but we just recently hung a TV on the wall. It does not get a lot of use, and I'm not necessarily a big fan of having a TV in the bedroom. And the reasons are nonsensical because, like, you know, you're supposed to go to sleep. But unfortunately, because of the mobile device thing, like, I'm watching TV anyway, or I'm going through reels on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or X or whatever. So that was the point of the story. I was going to transition from surround sound to something else. I can't remember what it was. Well, anyway, so yeah, I'm going to move the speakers, blah blah blah. We'll eventually upgrade. $150. It was easy to wrap our head around that, but it's probably just a transition surround sound system. We'll probably go with something much nicer once we get to the point where we're finishing the remodel, because I think, like, this. You know, it's still a wire nightmare, because like I have a drop. No matter what I do with this kind of a system, I have a drop. I could probably, yeah, when I go with a more professional set, like all the wires will be, like all the speakers will be in the ceilings of the walls and stuff like that. But anyway, where was I going from there? Just pulling up, talking about the speakers, blah 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 blah. Can't remember. I wish I could just rewind this a little bit and see where my thought process was, because I was going to transfer the story from the speakers to something else. Oh, setting up. It was still the story about speakers. So the setting it up process, it's because it uses that USB ARC. That's it, ARC. So it's not exactly plug and play. You have to plug it in, and I want to say it took us at least 20 minutes, if not more, and we don't know how we figured it out. My wife was reading the book, she was messing with it. So there's settings you have to change in your TV. I haven't been in my TV's menu in years. I haven't used my TV's remote in years. So like it was interesting. Menus I don't think I've ever seen before. You have to go into settings. You have to turn on ARC. You have to turn off something else. Then you have to find the input. It's worse than trying to get the proper sound settings correct on your PC. It's just and it just didn't, like, we kept thinking we had it set right and we didn't. And so I grabbed the remote. I have no idea what I did. I don't know what setting I changed and changed back. I turned the TV off and the soundbar off multiple times, but I was in the settings, and I wish I could tell you. I wish I could give you a life hack here, tell you exactly how I got it to work, but I have no idea. I don't know which setting I changed. It just started working, so it works. But that was it was a little difficult to set up, and it may just have to do with the user. Like I said, I literally had to put batteries in the remote for the TV because I haven't used that remote in years. I have a Roku. I have a Roku stick, and that's pretty much all we use to power the TV. Hey, here's a tip. So there are different, like, you'll see there's all these different Rokus on the market. There are different prices, and they all seem to be the same, but there is a difference. So the Roku that we have hooked up to the TV downstairs, the remote will power the TV. We bought the much cheaper, tiny little, I don't know if it's a Roku stick. It's small enough that you can put tape on it and attach it to the bottom of the TV. The one we have downstairs is a box like this, about this size, real flat, about this thin through the wall. We have that under our TV. We got the HDMI. Did I say USB ARC? I meant to say HDMI ARC. I'm sorry. It's a plug's a plug. Yeah. Anyway, so the Roku stickish kind of thing, the cheaper one, let's call it $40. I don't really remember how much it was. That one does not control the power to your TV. So, not even sure how the one that you plug into the TV does, but so if you buy the little one, you still need to have the remote for your TV because it will not power it off. Believe it or not, that's a pretty major difference, having to have another remote handy. We have it's not quite a sleigh bed. It's a sleigh-ish bed. Let's just call it a sleigh bed. So it's got the really big curved headboard, and it's got the footboard. Nice. I forget where we got it. It's definitely secondhand. It was a really nice set. We probably got it at Liberty Thrift. It's like nice leather sleigh bed. Like it. Anyway, the point is there's a car organizer that we have draped over the middle. So, like what you would normally have draped over your chair, well, not normally, but sometimes you buy these organizers, you drape over the back of the chair, and it's got all these pockets. Well, it's absolutely perfect. It's got these pockets, and we've got the remote for the bed, the remote for the TV, and the remote for the Roku, and the little net pockets in it. So, there's like 3 remotes. We just recently got one of those beds that, you can raise the feet, raise the back, which is nice. Except for one thing, like when I go to bed, it's very comfortable to sit in like a 0-G position where, like, the feet are raised and the head's pulled up, so you're kind of like how astronauts sleep in that kind of semi-fetal position, just kind of floating, hunched over. The problem is I don't sleep on my back. Like, as soon as I start to fall asleep, I roll over, and if I don't flatten the bed before I go to sleep, I end up sleeping at this really bizarre angle, and it really messes with my back. I'm sure they sell them. I'm not about to pay the money for an adjustable bed with a timer that flattens out, like when it senses you're falling asleep or at a certain time. But it's and oddly, my wife can't sleep like that. I go to bed earlier, so I I've told her multiple times, like, when you come to bed, don't worry about keeping it in the position it's in. You can flatten it out. In fact, I would prefer that, because when I'm asleep, I end up rolling over to my side, and having the bed shaped like a V is doing a terrible number on my back. Good times. Good times. I see my viewer recently redid their kitchen. Looks pretty nice. I don't know if I commented on the post, but I did notice that you said your oven broke, and I don't think that happens. And I meant to call and ask what's wrong with it. You probably want to get a new one anyway, but I'd like to take a look at it and see what's wrong, because there's very, very few moving parts in an oven, and I could probably fix it. I think we're gonna call that. We're about 30 seconds away from 22 minutes, so I think maybe we'll call that the end of the day. I am not going to make a second one. I may do a drive home just to bookend this, but well, not to bookend it. There's nothing to finish, but I got to put content on that channel too. So anyway, have a wonderful day.